The prosecutor of the International Criminal Court, ICC, Karim Khan, recently announced that he will formally open an investigation against the Venezuelan regime for crimes against humanity. The announcement was made essentially following a meeting between Khan and Venezuelan regime's dictator Nicolás Maduro in Venezuelan capital, Caracas. The situation comes after a preliminary examination that started in the year 2018, which essentially revealed that the Venezuelan regime has been committing torture, homicide, and even persecutions against the political opposition and against the civilian population in the country. Essentially, the Venezuelan regime has been accused of using its paramilitary faction, also known as colectivos, to conduct this type of violent operation in order to threaten or essentially disappear those who somehow represent some kind of threat or threatening for the Venezuelan regime in terms of politics. At the same time, the Venezuelan regime has been accused of using death squads to also conduct these types of horrible operation all across the country. This is something quite historic because we need to take into consideration that this is literally the first time that the ICC opens these types of investigation in Latin America, despite the fact that Latin America has been suffered the realities of dictatorships and tyrannies throughout its history, especially during the 20th century, with a lot of dictatorships along countries such as Argentina, Uruguay, Brazil, Cuba, Chile with Augusto Pinochet. Despite all these dictatorships, the ICC never conducted these types of investigation of, this type of accusation of crimes against humanity against any of these dictatorships. This is literally the first time something like this happens. Of course, this doesn't come as a surprise, considering that there has been a lot of report from independent media over the last few years that has been revealing this grim reality in the South American nation in Venezuela. Different reports from independent media has been showing the way that the Venezuelan regime is silencing the population, is silencing the political opposition by committing all types of criminal and especially violent acts. Of course, as it has happened in many countries throughout the history, these types of investigation, especially the preliminary examination that especially permits this investigation, takes a lot of time. We saw this especially with the case of Yugoslavia in the 90s during its horrible civil war, in which this institution, this organism took a lot of time, and many believe that they essentially came pretty late, considering the atrocities committed by the government of Milosevic against the population. In any case, justice was made in Yugoslavia, and many people, not only in Venezuela, not only in Latin America, but also all around the world, expect that something similar can finally happen in Venezuela, that the Maduro regime, the military, the colectivos, and the death squads, and every single politician who was involved in these types of violent acts could eventually face justice. Reporting from Medellin, Colombia, Luis Orozco, Newsweek.